Let's take a look at how to use the mkdir command to make directories. So we're looking at how to create directories. The main command that we will need to use is mkdir. There are other ways to do this, but this is the best way. Mkdir stands for make directory, and this, I believe, it works in Windows too. So this command creates a new subdirectory under your current working directory or any other directory that you specify as part of the command. So a typical way that you would use it, you would cd and return or enter to get to your home directory. So remember, cd enter by itself gets you to your home directory. There you can make any kind of directory. For example, you can make your memos, a directory called memos, return. Print your working directory, you will be whatever your home directory is. In our case, it'll be /home/uwrf if you're using the live DVD. And now, you can use ls here to check if this worked, and then cd into that directory. So let's see how that works. So here we are in our home directory. I'm going to say cd, enter, just to be sure. I can say make dir memos, assuming that no such directory exists right now. And I can say ls, and let's see, here it is. Here is our new directory, memos. So if I do a pwd, it hasn't moved me. Just by making a directory doesn't really actually move me into that. I have to move myself. To say cd memos, enter, and there I am. You can see that it shows up in your prompt. Also, you can test by saying pwd, and there you are. You are in this new directory that you just created. Okay. So you can also make a subdirectory in memos starting from your home directory. So you can say make dir memos /important, and then cd directly to that subdirectory inside memos if you want to. So you can try that out. Cd make dir memos / what it was called, important. Okay, no problems. You can say ls. There's memos. Say ls memos, and now memos has a directory called important. I can cd directly memos /important. pwd. There we are. So you can do this. There's also another way to create all of the subdirectories. So we know, for example, that there are no directories. There's no files in here. You could say make dir, and you can call directories with num you can have just digits in their names. Make dir1 ls. There's our 1. Make dir2 ls. There's 1 and 2. You can also do this. Make dir 1/2 if you want. ls doesn't tell us that anything has happened, but if you say ls space 1, now that 1 directory has a subdirectory called 2 in it. So watch this. You can also do this. Make dir 3/1/2 if you want. Turns out you have to use a specific option in make dir because there is no directory called 3 right now. So if you do an ls, there's 1 and 2 but no 3. So then how do you do this? You have to say make dir and everything in the path. So now what did this do? Now if you do an ls, remember we did an ls just before this command and we saw that there was 1 and 2 but no 3. Now if you do ls, you will see the 3, and if you do an ls 3, you will see a 1 in there. That's because we said make all of the directories in this path 3/1/2. Okay, so if I do ls 3/1, of course we will see the directory 2. If you say ls 3/1/2, you will just see an empty directory because we just made the directory with nothing inside it. Okay, so you can make directories, you can make a whole path of directories if you really want to. Sometimes it comes in handy. And so try some of the things that are in the book, and here is a discussion of the -p option. So try this out. Everything in this chapter are things that you'd learn a lot easier if you just try them out, try different options. So you can use -p, or if you really want to, --parents. Okay, so it makes everything in the path, including all the parents, if they don't exist. To remove, you have a special command called rmdir, remove directory. And that removes directories. And most of these things, definitely, once again, try these out. ls we've talked about quite a bit, looked at various options. Oh, let me see. By default, the output is sorted alphabetically. So alphabetically means, that includes numbers too. So if you do an ls, you have 1, 2, 3. What if you want to reverse it? You say ls space, and then you type in an option -r, and it reverses the usual quote-unquote alphabetic order. So these are not alphabets, but you know what I mean. Right, so by default, the output of ls is sorted alphabetically, and just keep in mind that includes numbers, even though numbers are not alphabets. Okay, so here is our ls command, and there's the output. And you want to try out these examples. So you can do stuff like this, ls directory name /first.c. So remember, the fact that this path does not have a slash at the beginning means this is a relative path. This will only work if your current directory has a directory called source in it. Okay. So there's a lot of options. -a is a good one to keep in mind because that lists all directories, including hidden files. So that's how there's a lot of hidden files in Linux and Mac OS X, and they're hidden because if you see them all the time, they just sort of clutter up your view of the file system, and so they're hidden. So let's take a quick look at that. All of those other options you just want to explore on your own, but this is an important one. So let's say cd and return to go to your home directory. Notice you're in your home directory now. You have your tilde right here. Let's say ls. You see a bunch of files, and now watch this. You say ls space -a. Now what you're saying is list all the files, including the hidden ones, and then there's a lot more files. What you will notice is that all the hidden files start with a dot. So on Linux and almost all Unix systems and Mac OS X, if you want to see hidden files, use ls-a, you will see a whole bunch of files that start with a dot. All files and directories that start with a dot are hidden, that is, they're not listed when you do an ls, until you use the -a option. You can combine options. You can say ls -l, you will see all the regular files, all the files that are not hidden. You can combine them into two options, -a and -l. You see a lot more. And typically, what most people will do is they will say ls -a and l together. You don't have to say -a -l, just say ls space -al. And you get the same thing. Okay, so that's a common one to remember. ls space -al will list all files, including the hidden files. That's one to remember. That's something you pretty much have to sort of memorize. -r will reverse. That's minus lowercase r. Minus uppercase r is very, very useful because it recursively goes into every subdirectory and lists all the files there. If you have subdirectories inside subdirectories, it will go into each one of those and list them all. So this can be very handy if you're hunting for files. So ls -r. Oops. Try that again. ls space minus uppercase r. Enter. And there's a ton of stuff. So there's a lot. Try this out for yourself. You'll see that there's a lot of files. When you list stuff out recursively, there's pages and pages. I was going to say it even lists the hidden files, but it doesn't. To list hidden files too, let's try ls -ar. Yep, that gave me even more files. Okay, so you can combine these various options. You can show the size, you can do the long listing. That is a lot more information. Okay, so every option letter is preceded by a minus sign. You can combine them. There must be a space between the command name and the option, so ls space minus something. You can use path names to list files in a directory other than your working directory, so you can say ls space source, stuff like that. And you can use more than one option in a single command line. So now there's a whole bunch of options, and they talk about what the -l prints out, the column 1, the RWXs, what do they mean? They are permissions. The second piece of information is the number of links, and this is something you want to read up about definitely, because I always like to ask questions. What does this number of links mean? So try to read up about it, and if you're not sure, ask me in class or post a discussion to figure out what this one means. 3 is the owner's name. 4 is the group, the main group that this file belongs to. And 5 is the size. 6 is the date and time of usually the last modification. Also, you can also list the creation date if you really want to. And then at the very end of each line in a ls-l long listing is the name of the file. It's complete name. So try out these options. You can say ls-c for just a short listing, but in columns. Other options, I'm not going to go over these. I would say just read through this. Definitely these are important. The main ones we've already gone through. Okay. Linux options include ls --help. So there's a whole bunch of these. Do a man ls to see a complete listing. Alright, so take some time and try out these different commands and experiment.